All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is going to be Genesis chapter 25 and verse 21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now, what I'm focusing on in this lesson is that 2 different manner of people, man, right? 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, meaning that the Israelites and the Edomites are complete opposites, man, right? We're not the same in any way. And you can see that if you actually understand who the Israelites really are, right, and who the Edomites really are, you will see that these 2 people are the complete opposites in every way. For example, Yahweh made them be the complete opposites in terms of their image, because the Israelites are dark-skinned and the Edomites are pale-skinned, right? They don't look the same, right? The Israelites have curly, woolly hair, and the Edomites have long, stringy hair, man, right? They're not the same. The Edomites have weak, frail, like almost effeminate voices, and Israelite men have a masculine voice, man, right? The Israelite man, for the most part, has a masculine sounding voice that's deep. Now, that's not to say that there's not no Edomites that don't have a deep voice, because there's definitely one Edomite that I'm thinking of right now that he has a very deep and demonic sounding voice with how he sounds, man. Right, one of those from one of those banking families, man. Right, he's got a real deep voice. Now, another point where you can go to show how the Israelites and the Edomites are complete opposites is how they eat their steak, man. And some people get offended by this and say, "Oh, how are you going to say that?" It's truth, man. Right? All the time when I used to see people eat steak and all of them kind of things, it was always done well done, right? Always done well done. But as every time in my life when I started hanging around with more Edomite people, then that's where that medium rare stuff. I started hearing about that medium rare thing all of a sudden, with the blood hanging out the side, man, to where the food's not even cooked properly, right? And that's a thing that Edomites do and claim that the blood gives flavor. But when you go to the scriptures, you ain't supposed to eat no blood, right? Genesis chapter 9 and verse. Oh, where is that? Genesis chapter 9 and verse 4. But flesh, which is the life thereof, which is wait, excuse me, let me read that again. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat. So you ain't supposed to eat food with the blood in it. You ain't supposed to do that. But Edomites love to do that. They'll be chewing on their meat like it's a damn piece of bubblegum, man. They eat their food steak tartare. They have a medium rare burger, right? They'll have their steak blue rare, which I ain't even heard of that until today. Blue rare, which is where the outside is like just basically barely seared, man. And the thing that made me think about this was and do this lesson was that I was watching a clip of Gordon Ramsay's kitchen nightmare thing, and there was on there a Edomite couple that owned a restaurant, right? And the chef made a burger, and then the owner made a burger, and they tried to compare the burgers, and the owner made a Wagyu beef that was rare with the blood drizzling out the side, and basically slapped a piece of cheese on the top without even any burger back or burger bun, and thought that he was doing something, right? And then the chef made a burger that was cooked properly, right? And the owner was looking at Gordon Ramsay like Gordon Ramsay was gonna like the medium rare one. And as soon as he tasted that burger, he said it's disgusting. right? And then the wife was there, and she tried the medium, tried that here her husband's one, and she said it's delicious, which shows that she don't know nothing neither. And then they tried the chef's burger, right? And Gordon Ramsay was like, "Man, that's delicious. I'd say that's about a 9 out of 10." And then the wife said the wife had a try of that burger as well, and then she pretended to choke on it, man. But really, she probably wasn't even pretending to choke, because Edomites don't like seasoning for real, man. They like their food to taste like it's kicking and screaming, man. Like it's still got life in there, man. They want to get as close to being a cannibal or to eating something while it's alive as possible, man. Because that's their nature. To want to eat, like the Edomites are going to be the first ones to be down with cannibalism, man. And I remember that Apostle Tahar did a video before on that, on a particular book called The Delectable Negro, which is a book about how Edomites was doing cannibalism on the Israelites during the Atlantic slave trade, man. That's what they was doing to us. Yet at the same time, they got the nerve now in this modern time to try and think that they're good people. But when you look back on their history, you can see that they're not good people. And back then, they wouldn't have thought they was doing nothing wrong. Neither would they thought that they was doing anything wrong when they was hanging us from trees. And neither do they think that they're doing anything wrong now. They're pretending like they think they are. So when have Edomites ever thought that they're doing any injustice, man? They've never thought that. They've never thought that, man. And anytime we've ever did anything to the Edomites, it's because they started it, man. When you look up the history, even in the scriptures, they always started it, man. And then King David, he ended up finishing it. But Edomites and Israelites, this is the point of the lesson. Edomites and Israelites are the complete opposites, man, in every way that they do things. Israelites can dance, right? Edomites cannot dance. Or the type of music that Israelites listen to, you require rhythm. But the type of way that Edomites like to dance is like that death metal or that dubstep mosh pit spirit where they jump and like punch somebody in their face. And that's considered dancing. They'll literally drop kick a woman in her back, right? Get up, roll around on the floor about 5 times, then get up and start shaking their head back and forth, and they'll call that dancing. Or they'll smash a guitar off someone's back, right? And then they'll say, "Oh man, I had a great time at the club last night." But they've got 2 black eyes, man, and handed out about 3 or 4, them damn self. But that's dancing. Or if you look at the way how Israelites wear their clothes and how Edomites wear their clothes, right? Edomites wear their jeans and stuff like that for the most part tight round every single blood vessel, man, right? Where they can barely even move. Whereas Israelites like to wear their clothes more loose fitting for the most part, especially trousers, right? Especially trousers, man. When it comes to upper body clothing, some of the time it will be a bit different, especially depending on where you live in the world for Israelites. But for the most part, Israelite men don't really like to wear their trousers close and or tight up around their area, man. Let me just say it like that. They don't like to wear their clothes hitch up around themselves and or their clothes strangling their ankles and it. They don't like to do that, right? But when they get around Esau, and because they don't make their own clothes, that's where they get persuaded by the trends of their enemy, man. Right? Now let me go back to Genesis 25 again. In fact, you know what? Let me go to Luke. Let me go to Luke. And there's a particular point in Luke. I think it's Luke 15. Is this the right place? Maybe it's Luke 16, huh? With Lazarus and the rich man. Yeah. I'm going to jump right down to verse 26. Let me bookmark this for the future. And beside Luke chapter 16 and verse 26, and beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. And that's why it's hilarious when you Israelite women really think that you're going to sail off into the sunset and have children with Esau, right? Because just like how when you watch the beginning of Romeo and Juliet, right? When they say that when they do the intro, they say that Romeo and Juliet are star-crossed, which means that it's destined to fail, right? That's how it is for an Israelite woman in particular, definitely more so than an Israelite man, to get with an Edomite man, because the Edomite man having a child with an Israelite woman has produced one more of his lineage, right? And the Israelite woman has gave birth to her own enemy, right? But the Israelite man that does the same thing, he's caused that woman to give birth to his lineage, right? And the Edomite woman then has gave birth to her enemy, but the Israelite has made another one of his nation be born, and even used his own enemy to do that, which is better than the opposite, right? But even still, that star-crossed as well, because meaning destined to fail as well, because the Edomites are going to be destroyed, right? And now saying that, even in the kingdom, Edomite women are going to be getting dealt with by Israelite men, right? They're going to have them as concubines. They're going to give birth to Israelites. They're going to, right? But that's going to be to the benefit of our nation. Even though we're still opposites and we can't mesh, man. Israelites and Edomites cannot mesh. It's not supposed to be that way. Luke chapter 16, verse 26 again. And beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence, meaning that Israelites and Edomites really can't get along, man. Now, what happens with Edomites, as far as I've seen with them anyway, brothers can say whatever they want to say regarding whether they think this is true or not. But what I've seen is the more peaceful Edomites' lives are, right, that's the more they'll be able to look down towards the other nations that are below them and be like, okay, now I'll be nice, right? Now I'll be nice to them because I'm so far ahead of them. I can afford to be nice to them now. So now I'm going to look at their miserable state and be like, oh, this is horrible. I don't want it to change, but I'm going to look at it and be like, oh, this is horrible how poverty stricken these people are. It's disgusting how they treat you people, right? But then as soon as their position starts to be challenged, then that's when the demon comes back out again. And they're like, nah, we ain't the same. We ain't the same. All for me, all for me. But then when their position goes back good again, then they'll be like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, it's horrible what happens to these people in this world. Right? That's how they play. That's how they think they're slick, man. And when you know this about them, they lose their power, man. Because you'll just stay on, I don't like you all the time. Don't try and come and be my friend now that you're got way more better than me. Don't try and come and smile up with me now. Because when you're doing bad, you show us that you don't like us, man. So just stay like that all the time. Don't try and pretend to be good, to be cool with us, man, because you Edomites are not cool with us. Verse 26 again, and beside all this, between us and you there's a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence, because the two nations have got two completely different ends, man. So how can two people that have got two completely different ends try to be friends when the two completely different ends are the complete opposites, right? 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the part and asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So if Esau is going to be ruling at the end of the world, but Jacob's going to overtake him, then how can these two nations be friends, man? That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense, man, because Esau is going to know that Jacob rising means he's falling. Verse 10, the hand of the man is betwixt the heel and the hand of a question Esdras, asked thou not? Now, let me show what that means even in more depth when you understand the scriptures, man. Right? Because this is the end of the Edomites. This is what the Bible says the end of the Edomites is going to be. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh have spoken it. So the end goal of the Edomites is for there to be none left, right? Yet the end of the Israelites is this. The end of the Israelites is going to be this, man. Which there's many scriptures that you can go to show the end of the Israelites, but for this lesson, I'll use this one. Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So that's the complete opposite. Because the end of the Edomites is to be completely destroyed. But the end of the Israelites is to get an everlasting salvation, meaning that it's never going to end. Once the Israelites receive their salvation, they're never going to fall out of it ever again. Whereas in times past, they've received the salvation, but it wasn't everlasting though. It was short term. And the thing that's going to cause the Israelites to get that everlasting salvation is the everlasting covenant that they're going to receive, which is where the laws of Yahweh are placed within their minds, right? And become a part of their body, which has not been activated as of yet, because if it had been, then that would mean that all the Israelites would know about the Lord, and they'd be currently teaching those laws to the heathen nations, which they're not doing, man. Even though you've got some Christians out there that will try and quote Hebrews the 8th chapter, or try and quote Hebrews the 10th chapter and try and read about what the new covenant is and try and make out as though that's happening right now. Yet they don't keep the law. It's ridiculous. Nobody on this earth right now keeps all the laws perfectly. But even if there is somebody that keeps all the laws perfectly right now, which I don't believe that there is, but if there is, if they slip up once, well then what was the point of boasting? And they have to maintain that state forever from now until they die. They'd have to continually keep up that state to be found blameless within their life, which is not possible, right? Which is why Yahweh needs to circumcise our hearts in order for our minds to be completely changed, man. Which that's a thing that he's going to perform. And we can't change our minds for ourselves, right? We can't change the, let me explain how, let me read how the scriptures explain it, in fact. We, excuse me, we as Israelites right now cannot change this thing that's been done to us. 2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 19. And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Israel. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them. Which that's what Yahweh is going to do when he sends his son Yahweh Shai back. He's going to take away from the Israelites that wicked heart, man. Verse 21. For the first Adam bearing a wicked heart transgressed and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away and the evil abode still. So the Israelites themselves cannot take that away from themselves, man. But going back onto the thing of how the Israelites and the Edomites are complete opposites, the Edomites' natural state is to be wicked, right? Whereas the Israelites have a conscience, man. And let me prove that. The Israelites' natural thing is to believe that there's a God, but they go about to try and make their own God because they don't have the understanding of the actual God that exists, but they try and make their own one. Romans chapter 10 and verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but are not according to knowledge. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness, and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. But an Edomite's natural state is to not even believe that there's a God, to oppose everything that even is God, man. That's what the Edomite's way is. Psalm 14 and 1. The fool have said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. Right? That's how an Edomite naturally thinks, man. Some of the questions you can ask to screen out who's an Edomite is, do you believe that there's a God? Right? And you'll see that most of them will not want to believe that there is. Right? They won't want to believe it. And then if they do believe it, they wouldn't want to believe that God would judge their forefathers for the Atlantic slave trade, though. If you start asking them about things like that, they'd want it to be a God that makes the things that they've done not be considered wrong. And I'm going to end the lesson there, man. The Edomites and the Israelites are the complete opposite, man. Right? And it shows when you understand who the Israelites are and who the Edomites are, according to the truth, not according to emotions, according to the truth, man. Because it's definitely facts that the so-called black American race, right, and the so-called white American race are complete opposites, man. They're not the same in any way. They like the complete opposite things, man. There's not really anything that they agree on. And that's why they hate them so much. Right? That's why the Caucasians hate them so much, man. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. Shalom.